Well, good morning, everyone. This is RevUP Awaken, and I have a very special show for you today. The topic for today is very important because it's all about energy and vibration. Now, don't go anywhere because what you may not know is that everything is energy. We are energy. Our thoughts and words are energy. Our movements are energy. And with each spark of energy that is unleashed into our world, manifestation takes place. Depending on the frequency of those vibrations, it can build worlds or tear them down. It can draw great opportunities for you or plunge you into a pit of darkness. Again, it's all choice, nothing but the choice. Free will, my friends. But let's talk further about what energy really is. Everything in life is vibration, according to Albert Einstein. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates at different frequencies. In fact, quantum physics describes the universe as nothing more than vibrating strings of energy. Scientific research has shown that different parts of our bodies have their own sonic signature. In other words, the sound of the cells of your heart differs from the sound of the cells of your lungs. When parts of the body become stressed or in dis-ease, they are no longer producing the correct sound wave. In other words, they are not vibrating at their optimal resonant frequency. To reestablish or recalibrate your frequency, you need to understand how lower and higher vibrations affect your energy and health. We're going to be taking a look at singing bowls and how they can be used to realign the body. The vibrations generated by the singing bowls can have an effect on a cellular level by detoxifying every cell of your body, as well as attuning your brain waves to a state of peace and calmness. Sound can be used as a tool to change the state of consciousness, increasing mental, emotional clarity, relieving tension, stress, anxiety, and anger. All of this well understood by the Egyptians long ago. The use of music and sound was a key component of Egyptian healing practices. All matter has a sound frequency. All organs, tissues, and even your thoughts have a specific energy and sound wave frequency that harmonizes the energy flow of the body. The flow of energy can be hindered when one experiences trauma in one's life, and sound therapy can help you get back into its natural rhythm. Your spiritual well-being is also affected, as this tool can quiet and cool down the mind while taking you to a higher self of realization. So with us today is licensed and certified vibrational sound therapist and Reiki practitioner, Nancy Figueroa-Galarza. She's joining us today on today's segment as we take a stroll through the incredible healing effects of the sound bath. Hi, Nancy. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm very excited to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, Nancy, you're very welcome, and I feel very good about this show because this is really at the root of everything in our lives, and I thought this would help people understand further of a practice that's very important in helping us to realign and balance ourselves and to reconnect to our spirituality and then also to our physical well-being. When did you begin your practice using the singing bowls?
Well, I've been practicing vibrational sound therapy now for over 3 years. And it started off as, let's get honest here. So it started off in a breakdown.
Okay.
A little over 3 years ago, I had been laid off from a job that I was at for 16 years. Mm-hmm. And when I did get laid off, I did not realize how internally I was stressed. So the job was not there anymore, but the internal stress was there. Mm-hmm. One thing that vibrational sound therapy affects is every cell of your body. And stress and trauma is held in the cells of the body. I did not know that at the time. So when I got laid off, I felt this inner calling. I said, I need to go and find someone that does meditation. Because at that time, the only thing I knew wasn't about meditation. And it so happened that, of course, when you have a deep desire, the universe presents, an opportunity. And there was a person doing meditation right in my neighborhood. Very economical also.
Really?
I was looking for economics at that time because I just got laid off.
Right.
And so I went to this person for meditation, and she introduced me to the chakra system, which is there's many chakras, but there's 7 major energy centers, chakras in the body.
Right.
And I'd never heard of chakras either. And she introduced me to meditation with the chakra system, and I immediately was drawn to it. I just loved it. So one day, the woman had a Facebook Live, and she rang a singing bowl. And when I heard that sound, it just went right through me. And I was like, what is it? And I have to have more. And then on one of the apps, there was a woman doing vibrational sound therapy with some quartz singing bowls. And it said 8-minute sound meditation. And I said, right up my alley, because I don't want anything longer than 8 minutes. So
Right.
I said, okay, let me listen to it. I really didn't know anything about it. And so at the end of 8 minutes, I felt so refreshed. And I had been having a problem with neuroma on one of my feet.
When you say neuroma, what do you mean?
It's the nerve endings
Okay.
on my foot.
I see.
Through doing Zumba and the pounding on the feet,
I
I
see.
had developed neuroma, and I had gone for, physical therapy, and it was still. So at the end of this session, I just thought to myself, like, wow, like I feel like my foot doesn't hurt.
Interesting. So it was like circulating or stimulating that area of your body.
Exactly. But I had no clue what this was about. And so I was drawn to, again, another day, listen to the same recording. And one of the comments said, it's good for pain. And I love, love, love when something works for me and that I know nothing about, because it makes me a believer. And I tell you, that made me a believer. And then since then, one day there was an expo and there was a singing bowl, and I just had to have one for myself. So I go to this expo, there's all these singing bowls sitting on a table, and I'm like, well, I can't buy all of them.
Right.
But so how am I supposed to choose? And the person was like, it'll call to you. Oh, I feel emotional.
And so one of those bowls called to you?
Oh,
or
it was like, I rang one bowl, and then I rang another one, and I rang another one, and I did not know what I was doing, because I had really no clue the deep science of it or anything, which is wonderful. And so I just kept going back to one particular bowl, and it was like, I like this one. It's just like, don't ask me why. It's just like I'm drawn to it. So I bought my first bowl. And it so happened to be the third eye.
Oh, really? So it represents the third eye, the pineal gland.
Yes.
And it's supposed to stimulate the opening of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I had no clue about it, even though some bowls have particular tones, particular notes. Sometimes it says that, some notes relate to a particular area, like the root chakra.
Yes.
But for me, and doing my practice, it's a whole body experience. So even though you have only one bowl, it's still affecting the whole body. Even though that bowl said that it was for the third eye, it was still affecting my whole body. So I bought that one bowl, and then I went crazy.
You started bringing in some more into your collection.
Oh, my Lord. I started with that one bowl, and then the next thing you know, everywhere I saw a bowl, I wanted to buy it. And then I was walking one day in Manhattan, and they were having this outdoor market, and there was a guy with like this table full of bowls. I wanted to just like scream, like I want them all.
Take them all. That's
Yeah, so one turned into two. These are my personal ones. I still have my third eye, which I use. I use them interchangeably for my meditation practice. But I still have my first bowl, which is my first love. And I use it for my meditation. In the morning, I ring my bowl, I sit quietly, and I meditate. So I still have that one.
That's an interesting topic to bring up, the third eye and opening up and stimulating the third eye, because everywhere you go on YouTube, we've been told that our pineal gland has been like crusted over, and we have to do certain types of exercises to try to open it up so that we can get more in connection with our spiritual messages and things like that. How would the singing bowl help in that regard? And are there other types of practices that perhaps people can use?
Well, first of all, the singing bowls are an effortless, response. So there's not like, oh, you have to think about anything. They just activate. Once you start ringing the bowls, they activate. So what one of the methods is that it unblocks the chakras. And of course, the third eye is one of the 7 major chakras. So what it does, it activates it, it clears it, it opens it effortlessly. Well, that's what I love. I love no effort.
Right, yeah.
I love no effort because in the past, when you really didn't know too much about meditation, you were like, oh my God, I got to still the mind. I got to struggle against it because the mind is always going.
Yes.
Some people call it the monkey mind.
Yes.
Here you try, okay, and so the more you tell it to relax, the worse that it gets. But with the singing bowls, it's just like an immediate, it just brings you to attention the minute you strike it. It's like,
that's what I was thinking that it probably does. I'm reminded of, because meditation is always a problem for a lot of people. I know for myself as well. It's like to get your mind just concentrating or focusing on just sitting there, that's difficult. We're overly stimulated in our minds. That's the problem. So to get ourselves to just focus and concentrate on listening to a meditational tape perhaps, it might help, but sometimes it's like you may need a little something extra. And I'm like thinking perhaps the singing bowls might be able to sort of help in that regard.
Well, what I love about it is, and I've learned a lot over the last couple of years, doing the singing bowls and the vibrational sound therapy. I also learned a lot because they also call it sound meditation.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot. It's not about controlling the mind. It's about letting the mind flow. But with the sound and vibration, what happens is that once you start listening to the tones, your focus becomes the sound. And it's effortless. You don't have to think about, oh my God, stop thinking.
Yeah.
Don't think. You're just gonna let it flow. And what happens is it gets into a rhythm and the mind just starts to, go with it. The goal is not to control the chatter, because if you don't control the chatter, it subsides for a while. Some people, it may subside for the length of the time, and they'll go in and out of consciousness. Some people, everybody has a different experience, but what I love about it is because over the years I've tried the meditation, and I also was under erroneous impression that you had to stop the mind, and that's why I was so frustrated.
We are learning from what's going on recently that we have to go within. And I think that's what we've been learning to do. The mere fact that we've been locked down in our homes in the past several months has taught us that that's probably the main reason why it's happening.
Exactly.
That we're finally learning that our answers are within ourselves. It's not without.
Right. And during this time, too, everyone is searching.
Yes.
Searching for that peace, that inner peace. Because as you can see now, everything on the outside has been turned upside down.
Yes.
So now where do you go?
Yeah.
Where do you go? You can't shop it, which, I have been guilty of being stressed out and, doing shop therapy.
Yeah.
And it works for a minute because then I get home and my problems, are gone. And then I'm like, what do I need this for?
Yeah.
And now with everything that's going on, so now it's like, how do you manage your stress? How do you get some peace of mind in the middle of these storms?
Yes.
Because there's always going to be something, whether it's not this pandemic, it's always going to be, some people have financial issues, some people have family issues. So, if you're always looking on the outside,
it's life. That's what it is.
So now you have to go inside, and a lot of people are looking for that, inner peace in the middle of anything that's going on. Yeah. So that's one thing that I have found, with the singing bowls. I use other instruments, but I love the Himalayan singing bowls. And I want to say something about the Himalayan singing bowls. They call them Tibetan singing bowls also. But the Tibetan monks did not use the singing bowl as, forms of meditation. They used them for burnt offerings, for storage. They were used as utensils.
So they had multi-purpose.
Yeah. So what happened was that they were originally from Nepal and India, and then through one of the Tibetan monks brought it back to Tibet. And as I am, researching all the time, the Westerners probably found the bowls over in Tibet, which they were more prevalent after a while.
Yes, yes.
And so I belong to the Vibrational Sound Association, and the CEO and owner also has a big warehouse in Nebraska with all kinds of singing bowls. And he's like, this is where I got my license and my certification. And if you tell him Tibetan singing bowl, he'll look at you because he's done many research. He does go to Nepal and India to get his bowls that he sells. And he's like, well, I tell you, because they were not using it the way it's being used now as sound therapy. It was only for the incense and stuff like that.
Interesting.
And also, the singing bowl is been around for over 2,000 years.
Yeah.
It's something that has been around for over 2,000 years.
Exactly.
I just wanted to mention that about the Himalayan and Tibetan.
Good. I always like extra information. I love that stuff. Now, besides like stress, what other reasons would people come to see you for a sound bath?
People come for emotional distress. And who's not emotionally distressed right now? So it does calm anxiety, it does calm stress, but it also clears the blockages in the chakras. And of course, when the chakras are blocked, there's where emotional distress comes in. So let's say right now, everybody's worried about finances.
Right.
And their financial security. So where would we do a lot of work on would be the root chakra, because the root chakra is where security lies. Food, shelter, financial security. That is all work that needs to be done on the chakra. So what I love about the vibrational sound therapy, it works the whole body, the whole person, body, mind, spirit, emotionally. Sometimes, let's say somebody comes in emotional distress.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are in emotional distress. By the time they leave the table, they have like a mental freshness, some inner calm, and it lasts for days. And also, after a session of vibrational sound therapy, you feel the effects of it for a few days. And also, if you do it regularly, like let's say once a week, I mean, if you wanted to do it more, the more the better. Right. The sooner you would get into that relaxed state. Because what vibrational sound therapy is a sound-based relaxation therapy that affects the individual on all levels. So that's what I love about it too. It's not just about a sound. It's not about maybe a 5-minute meditation. I've done events where I'll do sound therapy in a group for almost an hour.
Wow.
And so it's not just about the listen, but it's working the whole body. It's affecting the whole body at the cellular level. I also have a certification from the International Association of Sound Healing. The maestro, his name is Satyat Bhatt, internationally known. He does a lot of work in India, and he uses, it's amazing, the stuff. I haven't even touched the tip of what can be done with this sound healing. He does for ailments, all types of ailments. And he says that sound is the most powerful medicine in the universe. And it's true, because if you think about the Big Bang,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
How did the world, right? That the world came into existence with that one Big Bang. What was that? That was sound.
Right.
So sound healing is good for ailments. One of the first things that happens in a session of vibrational sound therapy is the breathing slows down, the heart rate goes down, the blood pressure goes down. What I recommend to people on blood pressure medicine is that if you are doing regular sessions of vibrational sound therapy, you have to monitor your medication. These type of modalities, in addition to the Reiki, but my passion is the vibrational sound therapy, but I'm also a Reiki practitioner. These are complementary modalities, therapies that are being used in hospital settings.
Yes.
For myself, I had I think it was about a year before the whole COVID thing happened, I was at twice a month at a nursing home. And I was doing vibrational sound therapy for the elderly, Alzheimer's, and dementia patients. And one thing about the dementia patients, like the severe ones, because I did go sometimes where they were ones that they were very, very agitated. I mean, yelling the whole time that I was doing the session. And the workers were trying to set her apart. I says, no, just leave her in the vibration. If she wants to scream, let her scream. It doesn't bother me because I know what this is about. And they would get very still. Not the most agitated one. The most agitated ones would probably continue, but what happens with them is that they get less agitated because what happens is this affects the parasympathetic nervous system. So it relaxes them. And it's it's wonderful because it's just effortless. There's nothing that they need to do. It's nothing that the person needs to do.
Yes.
And I want to give you an example. So I was at this nursing home and there was a woman there. Oh my God, she was just the whole time just yelling and cussing. Sometimes it was funny because she would say some things. And so she was in the back and she was yelling the whole time. And then the next thing you know, I said, okay, I wrap up, I'm leaving. And as I'm walking by her, which, when it comes down to Alzheimer's and dementia patient, even a moment of clarity is a freaking miracle.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking by her, I get a little, teary-eyed because as I'm walking by her, she just looked at me. 1 second there, she just stopped. And she says, oh, I like your hair. And then she said, are you coming back? And it was wow. So there's these little things, that show me the power of working with vibrational sound therapy because, I'm still amazed at the results. And I got to tell you, because there's different ways that I provide the service. I do one-on-one, where most of the time, not all the time, doesn't have to be all the time, and I switch it up because I don't want people to get bored, but the bowls are placed on the body, the singing bowls are placed on the body. Okay. Or I could place them around the body. I can play just those singing bowls, or I can play my other instruments because it's all vibration. And when the person finishes that session, the only thing I hear is wow. Wow, what was that? And so if any testimonials I'll have is just them saying wow, because they can't even explain what happened to them. And what I love about this is that the people that I have, provided the service for, most of them don't know what vibrational sound therapy is. And I'll give them a little explanation. And, you don't want to bombard people with a whole bunch of, explanation. You give them a little something, you ask them, what's going on with them, and most of the time is stress and anxiety and a few little ailments here and there. And so then when they finish the session, it's oh my God, what happened, And then I also tell them, don't worry, there's nothing to do. You don't have, because, when people think about sound and sound meditation, they always think about, oh, I got to still the mind. Oh, I got to control myself. Right. So I have to remind people, especially in the group sessions, because I also provide group sessions. And there, people are laying on a yoga mat. I have all my vibrational instruments, which consists of not only Himalayan singing bowls, but quartz singing bowls, quartz chimes, gongs. So they'll be laying on a yoga mat I'll be playing the instrument for everybody. I'll be walking around with the instrument, so they're getting, each individually, though they're in a group, they're still, getting a little bit of private attention at that moment. And I tell them, I says, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to control the mind, because that was the problem with me. I did not want to do meditation because I always thought I had to control the mind, and that was very difficult. And I gotta say that for a long time, and recently for a long time, that whole like just sit meditation, no sound or anything like that was impossible.
Yeah,
I always, tried to do the guided meditation or the sound meditation. And, for the last, I don't know, maybe for the last month, I have just been sitting in silence. And I've started with like, okay, let me just try 5 minutes, just silence. And you know what? All of a sudden, 5 minutes are up. And I was like, really? All this time I'm trying everything that I can, and it was like, oh, wow, 5 minutes. I could do 5 minutes.
Yeah. You're about to do a demonstration for us. So I wanted to find out, is there anything that our listeners should do, just to get themselves ready to listen to this?
Yeah. Well, I always recommend go to a nice quiet place, sit or lie in a comfortable position. Me, I like to lie down. I like to spread my arms. No legs crossed, no arms crossed, because of course energy is flowing. Right. So we want to just be like in surrender mode. And then what will happen is we'll close our eyes, we'll take a few deep breaths. Taking those few deep breaths starts the relaxation process. It starts to, your body starts to lose the tension. And then that's it.
Okay, great.
That's it.
All right, everybody, we're about to have our demonstration on the sound bath. In the meantime, while Nancy is setting up, I'm going to give you some information to contact Nancy. So you can get in touch with Nancy's Vibrational Healing Sounds. Her telephone number is 917-747-4559. You can also email Nancy at nancy.figueroa-galarza@yahoo.com. Her website is Nancy's Vibrational HealingSounds.com. She's also on Facebook as Nancy's Vibrational Healing Sounds, also on Instagram, Nancy's Vibrational Healing Sounds, and Twitter, Nancy's Vibration.
We'll begin with closing our eyes, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth to start releasing tension. 2 more times. And 1 more time. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing yourself back into the space. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And 2 more times. And 1 more time. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Namaste.
Well, thank you, Nancy. That was wonderful. Those sounds were just so ethereal when you're, just sitting here and just like feeling the impact of it. It's amazing. So I just wanted to just mention to people, because I'm a big researcher, and and I'm into ancient Egyptian practices and things of that nature, and I'm writing a book right now about healing, and one of the things I came across was a lot of information about the ancient Egyptian healing temples, and they used singing bowls especially to heal psychic problems at that time. The vibrations of the bowls they found helped to touch the soul and their heart, giving them peace and a way back to their inner self. When the bowls are vibrating by a stroke, they produce a wide spectrum of frequencies that can heal the body, mind, and soul. And these are practices that go way back thousands of years, but people, for some reason, have forgotten, and it's a pity, because a lot of this could really help if the medical industry would allow it to be integrated into our medical system. It would help immensely in healing people, but of course, they don't want that. So, that seems to be my pet peeve about that. The mere fact that they don't want people to be healthy, they just want them to be sick constantly. Mm-hmm. But I feel like all this should be integrated along with Reiki and shamanic healing modalities, along with reflexology, which is very important, not only the sound therapy and meditation. And I just a couple of weeks ago, I had like a toxic foot bath, and it's used in order to bring out the toxins in your system. And I was like amazed. You don't realize what you accumulate in your body until you see it in the bath. In the foot bath. It's amazing.
But just one thing.
Sure.
This is another holistic approach, to medicine, but it's I did see even on Instagram there's I don't know if it's a doctor or nurses, and they're using the singing bowls in hospitals.
Really?
I'm not sure where the person was from.
Okay.
But I also I said I belong to the Vibrational Sound Association, and one of my colleagues is at a cancer treatment center in Chicago.
Okay.
And we did have a retreat last year, and there was a doctor talking about sound healing and brain injuries.
Oh, interesting.
And also for PTSD for the veterans.
Yes.
So you're hearing about it a little more. Matter of fact, it was funny because I don't know if it was last night. It was a commercial. I think it was a rum commercial, and the guy had a couple of quart singing bowls. The people sitting there with a couple of quart singing bowls.
Wow, that is interesting. How it's
but you don't need rum.
No, you don't.
When you do a sound bath. I have a T-shirt that says "Sound Stoned," because when I provide these sessions for other people, I am also getting the benefits of it.
Sure. Yes.
And I become sound stoned.
This can be used as a part of an holistic approach. It could be added into whatever other types of healing modalities you have, along with whatever you're going to see your doctor with. When you are in illness, you are in dis-ease, and therefore your body is out of balance. And this is going to help to realign that balance into your system. And that helps in the healing process. And that's what we need to do every time we fall ill in some way.
Exactly.
And it's even if it's a psychological thing, whether we're overly stressed or we're nervous or we have psychological problems, perhaps. There it can help in that regard. I mean, how often have people listened to music that has helped to soothe them? And I think people should explore it as a journey into healing.
Exactly.
Find your own personal journey into healing.
Well, what they're calling this is complementary medicine in a hospital setting, because I do know it's a little more popular in a hospital setting is the Reiki.
Yes,
and what they're calling it is complementary medicine. So whatever treatment you're going to, like let's say you're going to chemotherapy, there's a doctor. His name was Dr. Gaynor. He's got a book out there. I forgot the name of it. I don't know if The Power of Sound or something like that. And he was an oncologist, and he was using the sound therapy in addition to the person's treatment.
That's great.
So it is being used for many ailments.
Yeah, I mean, last year I went through my own chemo treatments, and in the midst of the whole thing, going through the treatments, because of the fact that it makes you very sick, and brings you really off balance. Your whole body goes off balance. I mean, you even start walking on an angle, like on an angle. You're listing to the side. But I found that when I went for reflexology, and
I know you came once to one of my sound baths.
Yes, I also went to your sound baths too.
Yes, and just explain, what the sound bath is. The sound bath is the group session.
Yes,
they call it a sound bath because you are bathed in the sound and vibration. Some people are like, what is a sound bath? I saw something, a little cartoon that said something about a sound bath. Somebody didn't know. There's somebody in the bathtub. No, it's that you're laying down and you're bathed in a sound and vibration. They call that the group sessions. The one-on-one sessions, they call them sound massage.
Oh, interesting.
But you went to one.
Yes, and I picked up a lot of vibrational energy while I was there. So it opens you up on so many different levels, so many levels of consciousness. And I started to feel vibration in certain areas of my body. So I knew that it was affecting me in some way, But that was something that I found that I had to do. Because I knew that the going through just the treatments that they give you isn't enough, because it's not there to support your body.
Exactly.
You got to have nutrients. You have to have supplementation, cleansing your system, eating right, and you also have to have these complementary modalities.
Yeah. Let me just tell you what what to expect. Like after the session, you may feel drowsy or lethargic. Okay. May experience frequent urination, watery eyes, runny nose. All of these are symptoms of waste substance leaving the body.
Yes.
Because this is very detoxifying. You have to drink plenty of water and maintain hydration, because toxins are being flushed out.
Yes.
Let's see. Sometimes you have like a little muscle soreness, but that goes away. And I have not had anyone tell me that. Also, so there's reports of mental freshness, increased emotional response, which means control of emotional response to outside influences is what we're looking for now, because of everything that's going on, in the world and the environment. And internal awareness while being more present, and connectedness with your surroundings, which also opens you up to your spiritual sense awareness also. Absolutely.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Nancy, for being on here today, being on Rev Up and Awaken. I'm going to keep on saying that over and over again so people remember.
It is my pleasure. I thank you so much for having me.
This has been a fascinating show. I mean, the information and hopefully this will help people to maybe incorporate it into their lives, and because all these modalities are there to just help us, gain our spiritual connections and to balance our bodies and realign it so that we don't get sick so much, because there's nothing but toxins out there that we incorporate into our bodies. And
I'd like to say that this is another tool in the holistic toolbox, like meditation, like yoga, like Tai Chi, like, so this is another tool.
Right. Great. Okay. Thank you so much. And you can get in touch again with Nancy at Nancy's Vibrational Healing Sounds. Again, that's the website is nancysvibrationalhealingsounds.com. Bring the healing of sound into your environment. Bring in an awareness of as to what music or sounds, for instance, can feel soothing to you. Perhaps it's Brazilian music, which for me that tends to always make me feel very calm, or it's Duke Ellington or any music from that time period. While certain types of jazz or French music has a deep effect, on others as well. And yet the sounds in nature can also bring these healing elements like leaves whooshing in the trees or birds chirping or the sound of wind chimes tinkling in the breeze. Listen for your particular sounds that will heal and realign you. Look for more shows on Miriam A. Silver. Take a look at the archive page tab for episodes of MemQuest TV and Sirius Connections. You'll be hearing from me shortly, so remember, keep your vibrations high and your awareness open.